I'm going to show you exactly how to find emeralds in rivers using 3 simple techniques that most people completely overlook. By the end of this video, you'll know the telltale signs that separate genuine emeralds from worthless green rocks, the specific geological formations where these precious stones hide, and a $5 home test that confirms whether your find is worth thousands or just pretty gravel. Before you start your search, there are critical mistakes that cause 90% of beginners to walk right past valuable emeralds without even knowing it. Here's what professional gem hunters don't want you to discover about finding emeralds in ordinary rivers. But before we dive in, if you're serious about finding diamonds and other precious stones, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon, because I share advanced prospecting techniques every week that most hunters never learn. All right, let's get started. Now, let me tell you something that's going to completely change how you think about emerald hunting. Most people believe emeralds only exist in expensive mines in Colombia or Zambia, locked away behind corporate security and million-dollar equipment. That's complete nonsense. Emeralds form in metamorphic environments where chromium-rich minerals meet beryl-bearing pegmatites. In simple terms, they're created when specific types of rock get squeezed and heated deep underground, then transported by geological processes to places where ordinary people like you and me can find them. The same forces that created the famous Muzo mines in Colombia have been working across North America for millions of years. Reality check. Here's what nobody tells you. Forget everything you've seen in movies about emeralds sparkling like green fire in clear mountain streams. Real emerald hunting looks nothing like that romantic fantasy. You'll be knee-deep in muddy water, sorting through hundreds of ordinary rocks, dealing with false alarms, and questioning whether that green glint is actually beryl or just algae-covered quartz. But here's why this matters. While everyone else is chasing the Hollywood dream, you'll be using scientific methods to identify genuine emerald-bearing formations that 99% of casual rockhounds completely ignore. The truth about river emeralds is that they don't look like the polished gems you see in jewelry stores. They're often embedded in their host rock, appear cloudy or milky, and can range from pale green to deep forest green. Most are industrial grade, but even industrial emeralds can be worth $50 to $200 per carat if you know what to look for. Where this really matters. Emerald-bearing streams exist across the southeastern United States, parts of the Rocky Mountains, and scattered locations throughout the Appalachians. These aren't secret locations. They're ordinary creeks and rivers that thousands of people walk past every year without realizing they're stepping over potential fortunes. The key is understanding that emeralds in rivers don't stay emeralds for long. Unlike diamonds or sapphires, emeralds are relatively soft at 7.5 to 8 on the Mohs scale, and they have natural fractures called jardin that make them vulnerable to breaking apart during transport. This means you're looking for recently eroded specimens, not gems that have traveled hundreds of miles downstream. Visual reality check. What you'll actually see in the field is completely different from what you're expecting. Most emerald crystals in rivers appear as hexagonal, 6-sided green crystals embedded in white or gray host rock. Cloudy green stones with visible internal fractures. Pale green beryl that only shows its true color when wet. small fragments mixed with mica schist or pegmatite debris. The biggest mistake beginners make is expecting gem-quality transparency. Professional prospectors know that 95% of emerald finds are commercial grade, cloudy, included, or fractured stones that still have significant value to collectors and mineral dealers. Setting realistic expectations. Here's what I need you to understand before we dive into the techniques. Finding emeralds isn't easy, but it's definitely possible. Unlike panning for gold where you might find flakes on your first day, emerald hunting requires patience, knowledge, and the ability to recognize subtle signs that most people miss completely. You'll encounter dozens of green minerals that masquerade as emeralds. Green tourmaline, chrome diopside, green garnet, and dozens of worthless green rocks. The difference between finding nothing and finding something valuable comes down to understanding the specific characteristics that separate genuine emeralds from convincing imitations. But here's what makes this exciting. When you do find genuine emerald material, even small specimens can be worth hundreds of dollars. A single quality crystal can pay for years of prospecting equipment and trips. Layer 1. Visual identification. Now here's where it gets interesting. Identifying real emeralds in the field requires understanding 3 specific visual characteristics that separate genuine beryl from worthless green rocks. The hexagonal crystal test. First, you have to look for the hexagonal crystal structure. Real emeralds form as 6-sided prisms, even when they're broken or embedded in host rock. Unlike tourmaline, which forms triangular crystals, or quartz, which forms pointed hexagonal pyramids, emerald crystals have flat, parallel sides that create distinct, 6-sided cross-sections. All you have to do is wet the specimen and look for this geometric pattern. Even fractured emeralds will show remnants of their original hexagonal shape along the break lines. The metallic luster secret. Here's what most people don't know about emerald identification. Genuine emeralds have a distinctive vitreous to slightly resinous luster that's completely different from glass-like green quartz or the metallic shine of chrome diopside. When you find a potential emerald, hold it at different angles under natural light. Real emeralds display what geologists call pleochroism. They show slightly different shades of green when viewed from different directions. This is because emerald crystals absorb light differently along their crystal axes. Weight and hardness reality check. Professional prospectors know that emeralds have a specific gravity of 2.7 to 2.8, which means they feel noticeably heavier than quartz, 2.6, but lighter than garnet, 3.5 to 4.3. This weight difference is subtle, but becomes obvious once you've handled dozens of specimens. The hardness test is critical because emeralds register 7.5 to 8 on the Mohs scale. They'll scratch glass easily, but can be scratched by topaz or quartz with some effort. Never do hardness tests on specimens you think might be valuable, but knowing these numbers helps you eliminate obvious fakes. Color variations. That matter. Unlike what most people think, emeralds range from pale mint green to deep forest green, with the most valuable specimens showing that characteristic emerald green color caused by chromium or vanadium. Beryl, colored by iron, appears more blue-green and is technically aquamarine, not emerald. The secret is understanding that even pale green beryl can be valuable. Chrome beryl, light green emerald, sells for $100 to $500 per carat to collectors, while deep green gem quality material can reach $5,000 plus per carat. Layer 2. Location strategy. But there's something even more important than knowing what emeralds look like. You have to know where to find them. Professional emerald hunters don't just search random rivers. They target specific geological environments where emerald formation is actually possible. Geological context made simple. Emeralds form in contact metamorphic zones, where granite pegmatites intrude into chromium-bearing sedimentary rocks. In plain English, that means you're looking for places where different types of ancient rock got smashed together and cooked under pressure, creating the perfect chemical conditions for emerald formation. The 3 target environments. First environment: pegmatite contact zones. Look for streams that cut through areas where you can see white, coarse-grained granite, pegmatite, in direct contact with darker, fine-grained metamorphic rocks like schist or gneiss. The boundary zone between these rock types is where emeralds crystallize. Second environment: mica schist formations. Emeralds love mica schist because it provides the chromium that gives emeralds their green color. You'll recognize this rock by its silvery, flaky appearance and the way it breaks into thin sheets. Third environment: old mining district watersheds. This is the technique that changed everything for me. Research historical mining districts in your area, particularly those that produced beryl, feldspar, or mica. Even if the mines are long closed, erosion continues to expose new material in downstream watersheds. Indicator minerals, your success roadmap. When you find these minerals in a stream, you're in emerald country. Muscovite mica, silvery, flaky crystals that indicate metamorphic activity. Feldspar, white to pink crystals with perfect cleavage planes quartz. Clear to smoky hexagonal crystals, different shape from emerald. Tourmaline, black, green, or pink triangular crystals. Garnet, red, brown, or green dodecahedral crystals. The secret is finding these minerals together in the same location. A stream that produces only quartz probably won't have emeralds. But a creek where you find mica, feldspar, and tourmaline together is screaming metamorphic zone. Specific location tactics. Focus your search efforts on gravel bars below pegmatite outcrops, recent erosion deposits fresh material, creek bends where heavy minerals concentrate, emeralds settle in the inside curves, areas just downstream from metamorphic rock exposures. Source material is close. Old prospect pits and mine tailings. Previous miners may have overlooked emerald specimens. Wait until you see what happens next. I'm going to show you the extraction techniques that separate successful hunters from people who just collect pretty rocks. Layer 3. Practical methods. Now, here's the part that surprises most people. Finding emeralds isn't about expensive equipment or secret locations. It's about using the right techniques in the right order to systematically process material that everyone else ignores. The 3-stage processing system. All you need is a classifier, bucket with holes, a small shovel, a spray bottle, and a 10 by magnifying loupe. Total cost, under $25. Professional miners use the same basic approach, just with bigger equipment. Stage 1. Material collection. First, you have to understand that emeralds are heavier than most river rocks, but lighter than metals, so they settle in specific zones of gravel bars. Unlike gold panning where you process everything, Emerald hunting requires selective sampling. Target the medium-sized gravel, rocks between golf ball and tennis ball size. Emerald crystals rarely survive as large specimens in active streams, but they're too big to get mixed with sand and fine sediments. Fill your classifier halfway with material from the target zone. Then, shake it underwater to remove clay and organic matter. You're not looking for the heaviest material like gold prospectors. You want the middle density fraction where beryl minerals settle. Stage 2. Visual sorting. Here's what experienced prospectors do that beginners always skip. Systematic color sorting. Dump your classified material on a white towel and spray everything with water. Wet rocks show their true colors and eliminate the guesswork. Sort into 3 piles. Obvious rejects, clearly quartz, limestone, or common river rocks. Green possibilities, anything with green coloration. Interesting unknowns, unusual crystals, heavy specimens, or anything with geometric shapes. The secret is spending more time on this visual sorting stage. I've seen people find valuable emeralds in their reject pile because they rushed through this critical step. Stage 3. Individual testing. For each green possibility, you're going to use what I call the 5-second assessment. 1. Shape test. Look for hexagonal crystal faces or geometric patterns. 2. Weight test. Does it feel heavier than regular rocks of similar size? 3. Transparency test. Hold it to light. Any internal structure visible? 4. Hardness. Estimation. Will it scratch glass without being scratched by steel? 5th context. Test. Is it associated with the right indicator minerals? Professional gem hunters know that real emeralds often fail 1 or 2 of these tests, but rarely fail all 5. Industrial-grade emeralds might be opaque. Gem-quality stones might have visible fractures, but genuine emerald will show the characteristic beryl properties. Safety and legal considerations. Before you start your search, understand that most rivers and streams have public access for recreational activities, but always verify local regulations. Some areas require permits for mineral collecting, and private property is always off limits without permission. Wear appropriate footwear for slippery rocks, bring a first aid kit, and never hunt alone in remote areas. River conditions can change rapidly, and emergency services might be hours away from rural prospecting locations. Budget-friendly tool upgrades. As your skills develop, consider these upgrades. Portable black light, 15. Some emeralds show red fluorescence under UV. Digital scale, 20. Specific gravity testing for confirmation. Streak plate, $5. Tests for metallic minerals that might fool you. Field guidebook, $25. Regional geology and known mineral locations. The key is starting simple and upgrading based on what you actually find, not what you think you might need. Layer 4. Advanced recognition and climax. Here's the part that changed everything for me. Understanding the advanced recognition techniques that separate valuable finds from expensive mistakes. After years of collecting pretty green rocks, I discovered the professional validation methods that actually determine whether you found something worth keeping or just another piece of attractive gravel. The formation pattern recognition system. Unlike what most people think, emeralds in rivers appear in specific formation patterns that tell you exactly what you're dealing with. Matrix emeralds, crystals still embedded in their host rock, usually mica schist or pegmatite. These are often the most valuable because the matrix protects the crystal during transport and proves authenticity. Fractured singles, individual crystals broken from their matrix, showing characteristic emerald fracture patterns called jardin, French for garden. Water-worn specimens, rounded emerald fragments that have lost their crystal faces, but retain internal structure and hardness. The $5 home confirmation test. This is the technique I promised you at the beginning. A definitive home test using materials you can get at any hardware store. Specific gravity test. Fill a small graduated cylinder with water. Note the level. Then add your specimen. Genuine emerald will displace 2.7 to 2.8 times its volume in water. For a specimen that weighs 10 grams, it should displace about 3.6 milliliters of water. If it displaces significantly more, you might have quartz, lighter, or garnet, heavier. If it displaces significantly less, you definitely have emerald or another beryl variety. Quality assessment that determines value. Professional gem dealers use a 4-factor grading system that determines whether your find is worth $10 or $1,000 plus per carat. Color intensity. Pale green beryl equals $50 to $200 per carat. Medium green equals $200 to $800 per carat. Deep emerald green equals $1,000 plus per carat. Clarity grade. Eye-clean stones are rare and extremely valuable. Moderate inclusions are acceptable. Heavy inclusions reduce value, but don't eliminate it. Crystal structure. Perfect hexagonal crystals command premium prices. Fractured specimens are still valuable for collectors. Water-worn pieces are hardest to authenticate, but easiest to find. Size factor. Anything over 5 carats is considered large for river finds. 1 to 2 carat specimens are most common. Fragments under 1 carat are still worth collecting. The advanced elimination process. Here's what most people don't know about separating real emeralds from convincing fakes. Green tourmaline versus emerald. Tourmaline forms triangular crystals and is harder, 7 to 7.5 versus 7.5 to 8. Tourmaline also shows stronger pleochroism, color change when rotated. Chrome diopside versus emerald. Diopside is softer, 5.5 to 6.5, and has higher specific gravity, 3.2 to 3.4. It also shows a distinctive metallic luster that emerald lacks. Green beryl versus true emerald. Both are beryl, but true emerald gets its color from chromium or vanadium. Green beryl colored by iron is technically aquamarine and less valuable. Prehnite versus emerald. Prehnite is much softer, 6 to 6.5, and has a distinctive frosted glass appearance that emerald never shows. The reality of success rates. Let me give you the honest truth about emerald hunting success rates. Most dedicated prospectors find interesting specimens on 60 to 70% of their trips, but true gem-quality emeralds maybe once or twice per year. Industrial-grade emerald and other beryl varieties are much more common. But here's what makes this worthwhile. Even failed emerald hunting trips produce valuable learning experiences, interesting mineral specimens, and often unexpected finds like tourmaline, garnet, or other gems you weren't specifically looking for. The professional validation network. When you find specimens you believe are emeralds, connect with local gem and mineral clubs for initial identification. University geology departments for advanced testing. Professional gemologists for formal certification. Online mineral identification forums for community input. The key is building relationships with knowledgeable people who can help you learn to identify valuable finds with confidence. Next steps. So there you have it. The complete system for finding emeralds in rivers, using practical techniques that anyone can implement immediately. You now know the visual identification markers that separate genuine emeralds from worthless green rocks, the geological formations where emeralds actually occur, and the professional validation methods that confirm whether your finds are valuable or just pretty specimens. Your next steps. Start with your local geological survey to identify metamorphic zones in your area. Join regional gem and mineral clubs to connect with experienced hunters who know productive locations. Begin with day trips to build your recognition skills before investing in extended prospecting expeditions. Remember, emerald hunting isn't easy, but it's definitely possible. The difference between success and frustration is applying these systematic techniques consistently, rather than hoping to get lucky on random creek walks. What's coming next? In my next video, I'm going to show you the 3-step process for finding sapphires in ordinary gravel deposits, including the ultraviolet light technique that reveals hidden corundum that most prospectors completely miss. Subscribe now, because that UV testing method alone has helped viewers find thousands of dollars worth of sapphires in their first month of hunting. If this video helped you understand emerald hunting, smash that like button and tell me in the comments about the green stones you've found in your local streams. I respond to every comment and love seeing what viewers are discovering. Until next time, keep hunting and remember, the next emerald you find could change everything.